What's up, guys? It's the boy in purple, and today we're going to go over how to do deep guttural vocals. We're just going to get right into it because I'm not going to cut the video or anything like that. So here we go. Step one, be able to activate the lower end of your false chord range. And what I mean by that is typically when people yell, they use either the upper end or the lower end of their false chords. And they usually correspond with higher or lower. Most people tend to learn the higher part first, and then they learn the lower later, just because it takes a little more air specifically. But there's always those people that learn them first. So once you have activation of the lower end of your false chords, the big difference that I do that makes it deeper is what I do with my tongue, and then what I do with my larynx, and that's dropping it. And so what I'll there's a natural way to do this where you can feel it, which is just yawning. So that's always if you're not quite understanding how to get it to do that, just next time you yawn, just feel that out and see what's happening. And then there's also the way that I just make my body do it, which is you can isolate it and do it, or you can take your tongue, the back of your tongue specifically, and kind of use it as a depressor. And so when I'm doing the very low stuff, what I'm doing is I'm making a U shape with my tongue, and I'm pressing down on my larynx. And so I'll try to show it really quick, what's happening. So I think this is a good profile. So it's like this, and then I'm lowering it. I'm pressing down, Uing my tongue, and lowering it. And if I'm just speaking, I'll show you guys what that sounds like, the difference. So me normal speaking, me speaking like this. Yeah. So it changes the bassiness of it and kind of rounds it out. And it allows you to press air through lower positions of your lower area of your false chords. And that's basically how I do it. There's a handful of different ways you can practice without actually even screaming a lot of the times, which is what I do when there's people in the house and stuff like that. And so one way is I just will use my diaphragm and I'll just press air through without activating my vocal cords. And what I mean by that is this, or, and so I'm just pushing air through, but I'm not activating the thing. It's just a sigh. It's the same idea as that. I'm just controlling it, the sound of it, with the shapes of my mouth, the formants of my mouth and my tongue. And past that, what I was doing earlier where I was talking, the difference when I was talking, that's a good helpful way for you to just get in the habit and practice of stretching those things out and down and adding voice into it. And then I would just suggest doing quiet yells, and then adding more and more strength into it as you're able to. And that'll keep things from just being pushed out on the high end. What I hear a lot in some of these videos where people are trying to do low, really low stuff, is they're doing the shape correctly, but because the strength and endurance of holding that position is weak, it'll cause the flaps to not really vibrate well, and so there'll be dead spots in their voices. And that's just something to keep in mind as you're practicing. As far as the biggest tips for practicing, once you actually start yelling, I would highly suggest recording yourself on your phone, or if you have recording software, doing that kind of thing. And that's it's a good unbiased way of seeing yourself, because if you're just yelling, you're probably just going to think that you're doing a really great job, which isn't necessarily problematic, but it might not necessarily translate to everyone else. So it's always a good thing, and I always do this too, and I just record myself all the time. I listen back, I'm like, okay, there are things that I want to change, and then I just play around and try to change those things. Another big thing is to just stay really well hydrated, because you are pushing like a lot of air, and you're pushing a lot of like moisture out of your mouth when you're doing this stuff. It's kind of the same reason why you're supposed to breathe through your nose and not your mouth all the time, because it just dries it out. And so like staying hydrated is a really important thing, and also just like treating it like a muscle, any other muscle. So like give yourself days off. Don't try to do this like every day for hours and hours over and over and expect to get better. I would highly suggest when you're starting it out, do like small increments and just do it every other day until you can build into things. And you'll notice like a like substantial difference doing it that way, as opposed to trying to do it every day. It'll just allow your throat and stuff to heal back up, and it'll allow the muscles to get a lot stronger, and you'll be able to push more and more. And the biggest thing I can say is to stay at it. Give yourself a month at least. Don't just like practice for a week, be like, I didn't get any better. I suck, or, he gave me bad advice or whatever. Just stay at it, because these things take time, and some people figure out things faster than others, and that's just something that we have to accept, and we just have to push through. That's all I have to say about this, and thank you guys for watching.